Good evening, all of you. This is Rataya, Faculty of Pedagogy. Welcome to Anu Publications. Here, I would like to discuss a few more important elements, a few more important topics where our Anu Publications has been covering in all the elements. In Telangana state, a few more notifications have been released. As you know that TGT has been declared, PGT has been declared, JL, and even for the school assistants, which is going to be released soon. The entire, of course, with a few more modifications. The maximum syllabus is the common area, dear students. That is why our Anu Publications is concentrating more on a few important elements which is to be understood. Now, here I would like to introduce what are the steps to be taken and what are the chapters to be prepared and how the things are going to be changed. Let me explain them. Students, chala jagrataga gurtupettukondi, a few more important elements. This is really a fortunate to all the people of Telangana because the government has released TGT just now. And a few more notifications were already released, as you know that. Now, as far as the syllabus is concerned, what is the syllabus? What is the way of preparation for TGT and PGT? For how many marks the paper will be given? Let me explain those things, students. As you know that, paper 1 is general studies. General studies contains general English also, which is nothing but the proficiency of English language that contains grammar. Now, students, as far as the pedagogy is concerned, as far as the literature is concerned, what are the topics to be covered, for how many marks the question paper is given, and for how many marks you are supposed to present. These things are supposed to be understood, students. For example, as far as pedagogy is concerned, this is a complete paper. Those who are aspiring for English TGTs or English PGTs or JL, whatever the examination is, that you must understand the way what is the syllabus that is covered. For an instance, the syllabus which is prepared by our Anu Publications. The pedagogy of English language contains the nature of English language and its historical development in English language. What does it contain? What is language? How language is connected to English language. For an instance, students, here I would like to quote an example. I would like to tell you one more important point. Language is unique and all the features of languages, I mean all the language features are common, like English even, because English is one of the languages among all the languages. So, what is English language? What are the characteristics of language? I mean, here students, you must understand the difference. Characteristics are common to all the languages, not only to English. You must understand that. What are the common characteristics of language and how those common characteristics are linked to English language? This particular point is to be observed. And what are the important elements? Those are to be observed. For an instance, if any question is given like this, see, language is arbitrary, language is dynamic, language is cultured, all. Which one of these 4 elements is the right option? Of course, by basing on that, because nature of language for this, from this particular chapter, students, you can expect 10 to 15 questions, because even in the earlier examination, the questions have been asked in this particular chapter. That is the reason this chapter has to be paid more concentration apart from the rest of the elements. And now, the nature of language includes characteristics of language, development of English language, pre-independence, post-independence. Students, you must understand what are the characteristics and what is the development of English language pre-independence and post-independence. Nature of language includes characteristics, development of English language, pre-independence, post-independence. Students, you can expect a few more important questions basing on this. Now, I'm going to discuss after the completion of the explanation of the syllabus. I'm going to explain the development of English language also, how the language is linked to the rest of the elements and what are the common elements which are derived. These points are to be supposed to be observed, students. Now, as a first language, as a second language, as a third language, what is this important point you must understand, student? For example, here I would like to quote one important point regarding this element. I am a Telugu speaker. My first language is Telugu. And a person who lives in North India, his first language may be Hindi or Odia, whatever the language is that. And what about this third language? How is it derived? What is this? This three language formula has to be observed. Without considering these elements, this chapter is not going to be covered, students. That is the reason we need to observe the points over there. And the second element is different types of languages, mother tongue, languages of different professions. Of course, for example, here is a question on mother tongue, student. Let me explain that also. I am a native of Telugu. My first language is Telugu. My second language is my national language, of course Hindi. And the people who live in North India, their first language is Hindi. And what about English language? Of course, this is third language here. But there, how does it change? These are the questions. These are the elements, the points which are to be observed. Jagrataga vinandi students. Ee elements teliyakapote ibbandi padtaru. Ikkada, these are a little bit confusing aspects. Those confusing aspects are supposed to be understood with analytical knowledge. So, our Anu publications, we are providing the skills, abilities to be presented analytically so that you can understand and you can excel in the examination. Coming to third element, importance of English language, importance of languages across school curriculum. How the languages are linked to school curriculum. How it is derived, how it is developed, how many questions are asked. These students, remember, this chapter is very, very important chapter. Even in 2018 DSC, even 2018, the examination conducted by Telangana government, a few questions, nearly this chapter covers 10 to 15 questions, students. That is why this is an important element, this is an important chapter. You are in entire methodology questions. In fact, this is methodology. Here, I want to explain. What is that methodology? What is that method? Method is nothing but the way, the procedure, the way of teaching, the procedure of teaching that is to be explained. What we learned is not important. How we implement what we learned is nothing but the method, the way, the procedure, using some TLMs. Of course, what are those TLMs? They will be discussed in detail when the topic is being explained, students. Now, coming to the fourth important element of first unit is contributions of creative writers. Who are the writers and what is their contribution to English language, to all the languages, these elements to be observed. And second chapter is concerned values, aims and objectives of teaching languages in English language. Students, here a few common elements are there, comparatively mother tongue, comparatively English language. We must understand, because in India English language is called, English language is called link language. What is link language? Who derived this statement? How this link language is connected to the rest of the elements? Of course, English language is called language of trade, link language, language of transport, and up to 1950s, this is official language also. It is acted as official language also. You must understand those elements, students. And now, next point. Child development, psychology of teaching and learning biological sciences in English language. How a child's development is before puberty, after puberty. And here there is a question as far as psychology is concerned. For example, up to 5th standard, which language, which medium of language is used for a particular boy? Up to 5th standard, as far as 3 university formula, as far as Kotari commission, as far as a few commissions which are declared over there, those points to be observed here. Child development, psychology of teaching and learning biological sciences in English language. And coming to fourth important chapter, language curriculum, construction, organization and development in English language. How English language is being developed. Remember students, here is just a link between this and this. What is that link and how it is connected? How the development of English language from 1600 to present now. In India, how its teaching is. Of course, historical development of English language, entire world is different, and development of English language in India, which means teaching English language in India. This point is supposed to be understood, student. And coming to language skills, planning for effective instruction in language classroom, different plans and designing learning experiences, teaching and testing language skills. Language skills, LSRW you must understand, how to teach English language, how elements are given. And see, sixth chapter, students, very important chapter. One more important chapter where the maximum questions can be given from this chapter also. Approaches, methods, techniques of teaching in English language with a special reference to school content. Students, please pay utmost concentration toward this important area. How the development of English language in India is important, in the same way, in such a way, approaches, methods and techniques of teaching in English language should be an important. What is GTM? What is a direct method? What is grammar translation method? How English is taught in India? Which method is popularized and which method is popularized by whom? Definitely expect questions from this entire area, students. I'll explain all the elements in detail when the chapter is being explained. Coming to seventh chapter, teaching and learning resources and designing instructional material for English language. What are TLMs? How do we use TLMs? And what is the material which is to be used there? Language labs, teaching aids, textbooks, and how the language games can be played in the classroom also, students. We need to understand even that point also. Coming to eighth chapter, measurement and evaluation in English language. How the measurements are, what about its evaluation is. CCE, this is the present pattern which is being developed by, which is being used by all the schools, private and government schools. CCE pattern, continuous comprehensive evaluation. What is that CCE pattern? How the questions are derived? These elements to be followed, students. Coming to second element in 8th chapter, tools and techniques of evaluation, achievement and diagnostic tests. How the examinations are conducted, what is the pattern of that examination, how we go with that, these things are to be supposed to be. Coming to 9th element, student, learning disability, difficulties and education of exceptional disabled children in English language. This is newly added chapter, student, remember that. In fact, disabled students stands for disabled student. He may be physically sound or he may be mentally sound. There are no special schools for disabled. Then how do we teach those kind of students? That is the important element. Learning disability, how do we teach disabled? This is nothing but special education. How the language is delivered to such kind of people, that is to be understood, student. And next, English language and everyday life. How it is linked to our everyday life. How language is linked to everyday life. That point to be observed, student. And in the 10th chapter, what are the language issues and policies, national and curriculum framework. How, this is one more important chapter, student. National, state and curriculum framework, on which basis the curriculum is designed. So these important elements are to be observed. So here, students, this entire pedagogy paper contains 100 marks. This entire pedagogy paper contains 100 marks. There are 10 chapters, of course, 10 main chapters. We have subdivisions where we need to concentrate on the subdivisions also. How the questioning is. And out of this 100, what is the maximum possibility of securing? Of course, there is no doubt we need to secure 100 out of 100. But what is the process of securing that? what is the view of preparation, how much time do we have, and what is the way of preparation, which kind of books are supposed to be read, and which kind of books are which kinds of material is supposed to be followed. These elements are going to be explained here, students. We are Anu Publications. We are providing you the best material from D.Ed book, from B.Ed book, and from other resources also. We have covered important chapters and important materials as far as these elements are concerned. Don't consider there are only 10 chapters, but 10 chapters, it is like an ocean, students, where we need to concentrate a bit more, and where we need to observe a few more ideas, how the questioning is, what is the way of questioning, and what are the typicalities in the questioning. These things are going to be explained in the session, students. Thank you.